Welcome to Attenuation, a weekly podcast where two friends come together to drink beer, discuss beer styles and trends, and just generally ruminate on the meaning of life, aka beer. If you enjoy your time with us, we invite you to become a weekly listener and subscribe to the podcast. Without further ado, here is this week's episode.
Hello, and welcome to episode 100 of Attenuation, a beer podcast. My name is Jason, and I'm joined by my best friend since 8th grade, Steven.
Hello. Literally joined.
Yes, we are recording together because Steven is out here visiting.
This is weird.
This is
really actually weird. Even weirder than didn't we did it in a hotel room once at the Great American Beer Festival. But yeah, this is strange.
This is really weird. We're huddled around my microphone, so the audio might sound a bit different than normal.
But yeah, no Skype involved, which actually is nice.
Yes, there's a lot less technology being implemented right now. Yeah, so it just kind of timed out perfect that we'd be together in person to record our 100th episode of the podcast. So we're super excited. We're going to cover our favorite episodes and also talk about we got to go to the new Moonraker facility, the Mill House. So we'll talk about our trip there.
Yeah, 100 episodes. This is kind of crazy.
Did you think we'd make it to 100 when we started?
Honestly, probably not.
Yeah, me either.
I didn't know if we'd make it to 2.
We definitely made it to 2. All right. Yeah. Well, are you ready to do tradition in person?
Okay.
We are going to do, of course, our first segment is always drinking beer. And we're going to be drinking the same beer today, which I'm excited about. We are, because usually we both, we're not together. So it's tricky for us to drink the same beer unless we both have the same beer. But very special beer we have today. And if you listen to the show, you know the backstory, but I'll tell it again just because it's such a cool story. We have Melvin Brewing's Assembled Armor. So this was a random find when Steven and I were at the Great American Beer Festival. There was a Wish You Were Here table. It was basically just an area where people sent in bottles, but just to open and share, but they didn't really have any representation other than that. So they didn't have a booth or anything like that. And I randomly ran into this beer and I loved it. I think it was I named it my favorite beer of 2022. I kind of went down the rabbit hole. I emailed them to try to buy some. And they're like, oh, we don't really ship it. You'd have to come out here. And it's on the East Coast, I think. But anyways, it just popped up on Tavor the very next day.
I was going to say, yeah, it was like a day or two after.
I literally thought I was dreaming. I was like, wait, how is this in Tavor? So, of course, I ordered some. And I've been holding on to it. And this is the perfect time to drink it. So I'm really excited we're going to drink this. And that was podcast magic.
Yes, yeah. We've had a lot of podcasts. We had some recent podcast magic.
Yeah, I guess, we did.
Yeah, we just talked about... I had the Trillium beer and because they've started to distribute in Texas. And I mentioned, I think you could probably get it at Pacific Market. I think I've seen it come up there. I'm not sure. And then... the next day it did.
Very next day they posted it on Instagram. It's there. And I was like, oh, I have to go. So I went and I was lucky enough to score. It was actually such a good haul. I got Heady Topper, Fort Point from Trillium, and Congress Street.
Yeah. So
we actually tried those side by side a couple days ago, which was very fun and very insightful.
Yeah. They're really, I've said this so many times, but it's just nothing better than drinking stuff side by side.
Yeah.
Really capture the vast differences between styles and beers. And yeah.
It's pretty mind-blowing, especially going back and forth between Heady Topper, which is definitely a West Coast style.
Yeah. And I think that's what surprised me most about Heady Topper was that, I don't know, in my mind it was the OG hazy IPA, but it's not. It's very much more old school American Imperial IPA. Very hoppy, very bitter, and then even surprisingly sort of estery and malty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I drank it on the podcast. I drank it against Pliny, and they were kind of similar.
Yeah. So I was gonna say that I think when you did that, I was thinking oh, it's kind of a weird comparison, but it's not.
Yeah. And then it was really highlighted when we were drinking it against, especially Congress Street.
Yeah.
Which is like almost devoid of all hop bitterness. It still has like some of the hop flavors, obviously, and it's got all the floral flavors. It even has like, we thought it was like bubble gum almost. Melon and bubble gum. But trying those side by side, it's like, oh, okay. This is the difference between these two styles. Like, it's so clear.
Yeah. Well, and then sort of in the middle was that Ghost in the Laboratory, which is a Parish and Equilibrium collaboration on the hazy, like a double IPA. And same thing, you like come off of the heady topper and you drink that, and you're like, oh, this is just juice.
Yeah.
This is just juicy fruit gum, basically.
Yeah, totally.
So, surprising.
Yeah, so that was fun. We did what we said we were going to do. We had like 4 amazing IPAs open all at once. Yeah. All right, well, sorry, that was a little side story. We're having too much fun because we're in person.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's crack into this. So Assembled Armor is a strong ale. It's 15%. It's a blend of imperial stouts and barley wines, aged in bourbon barrels with sesame seeds, sea salt, maple syrup, and cinnamon.
Whew. It's the sesame seed thing that gets me. Sesame seeds and smoked sea salt. Such a weird.
Excited. I'm so excited. I'm so excited you're going to get to drink this whole thing. So I know we always have to do appearance, but whenever I drink, every time I drink my barrel-aged stuff, it's like, they're all exactly the same.
Yeah.
It pours, it looks like Coca-Cola. It has basically like Coca-Cola head that quickly dissipates into nothing.
Yeah, you actually have more retaining head than I do on your pour.
All right, so we'll give nose notes together. We get to give nose notes together.
Yeah.
Oh, it smells so strong.
It smells like Parabola.
It does.
Yeah, for me, it's like it's like oatmeal raisin cookie.
Mm-hmm.
Because you get raisins and some cinnamon in there.
Raisin, the second you said raisin, it's like, yeah, so strong. Well, yeah, then you smell like baker's chocolate. It almost smells like licorice a little bit. You get that?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I hate when you...
Did I, Inception?
Yeah. You just say something like, oh man, there it is, yep.
It's like plum, too. Like cooked plum. There's something else there.
Really like fancy chocolate.
Yeah, really fancy. Like a chocolate bar with... You know when you buy the fancy chocolate bar and it's like more dark chocolate than milk chocolate? Mm-hmm. That's what it smells like. And then definitely booze. All right, sir. Well,
like leather.
Yeah, I was quite tipsy when I tried this. So now...
Well, what's the percentage?
15%. But I drank this at like the end of the festival. And I declared it my favorite beer of 2022. Let's see if I was just drunk.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers. It's so good.
Wow.
It's so good.
It's funny because for me, I don't like... None of those adjuncts are like blowing up in my mouth. I mean, maybe a little bit of the maple syrup sweetness for sure. But other than that, it's just like a really, really smooth... Like the alcohol burns, but it like burns really, really nicely.
The reason I love this beer is it kind of does what I like in a beer where there's these stages that are occurring.
Yeah.
So after you swallow, like new flavors come up. Like on the entrance, you get chocolate, that raisin, and then I don't know what the sesame seeds do. I don't know if I'm detecting them at all. But then like after the entrance in the development, I get that like sweet maple syrup comes up. Then the cinnamon comes up like right after that, and then in the finish you start to get like that salt. You taste a little bit of that brine. I just love when a beer does that, where it's like a 10-second experience from when you swallow, or from when you taste it to when you swallow it, and there's like stages happening. And this just tastes really unique. It's just very different, which is another reason why I think I like it so much.
Well, for me, I think you're probably a little bit more of a super taster than me when it comes to these. You have like so much more experience with these. Maybe. So usually when I'm judging like a barrel-aged stout, I mean, I hate to do the thing where like it's smooth, like that stupid cliche, or like drinkable, but I do like feel it developing over, like you said, that like 10 seconds, and it's like nothing kills you. Like, I've had some stouts where you're just like, it's too much at one point or another, but this is like, it's that cohesion that just like flows, and you just get this like, you can 100% tell, like, get the bourbon.
Like, oh yeah, sorry, I didn't mention.
Yeah,
you get the bourbon.
Yeah, but it's like in the best way possible, with that chocolate, that sweet maple syrup for sure that I'm tasting. Man, it's just really good.
You're right though. Like everything, like a lot of times when they try to do something with Also, remember, there's barley wine in here. Like,
Yeah.
it's stout and barley wine. Like, just reading the description, you're like, oh, something's going to stick out like a sore thumb.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing sticks out.
Yeah.
And it's 15%, and you don't really... I mean, there's like that punch, like that bourbon punch that is boozy, but it actually tastes like you took a sip of bourbon.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not like off-putting at all.
Mm-mm.
They incorporated the high ABV into it in a way that it's not off-putting. Yeah, this beer's amazing. Unfortunately, I don't know if we'll ever get to drink this again. I think they made it once.
Really?
I think so. I'll email them. I'm going to tell them the whole story how I got it. But I'm pretty sure, like when it said on Tavor, I thought they said it was a one-off, but I hope they keep making this because this is really good.
And again, the adjuncts to me seem weird in that didn't know how that was going to present.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know exactly what it's doing altogether, but it's making a really great beer. So I don't know. Again, not sure what the sesame seeds would do or impart, but yeah, it's fantastic.
Good. I'm glad you like it. I like it. I'm glad I was a little bit nervous that I was going to be like, oh, it's awful. Because, I just like misremembered how much I liked it. But it's really good.
I didn't think you would probably misremember.
Well, the problem was it was like we were deep into the festival.
Yeah.
I was pretty tipsy, so everything tastes good then. And it was a little bit of the fun of finding something in the "Wish We Were Here" section because it's all the way in the back and there's no fanfare.
No, not at all.
So it's just kind of like, oh, look at this hidden gem. It had a little bit of that mystique. So I'm giving this a thumbs up. I don't know about Steven. All right,
definitely
two
thumbs up.
All right, cheers, sir. Well,
but definitely giving for me. I mean, again, I don't have it next to it, so it would actually that might be an interesting side by side. But for me, giving me a lot of Parabola vibes, a lot, which is like one of the best imperial stouts that I've ever drank.
Do I have a Parabola in the fridge?
I don't know. Maybe, but you don't have to open it. You do have it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Steven said this reminded him of Parabola. And he said, it'd be fun to try this side by side with Parabola.
And then, of course, he has a Parabola.
I have a Parabola. So what, Steven?
I mean, this is episode 100, right? I mean...
Your dreams are about to come true. And this will probably be the longest tasting segment we've ever recorded. But
yeah, but that's okay.
Here's the 2022 Parabola. Unfortunately, it's going to be pretty cold. Because I didn't take it out of the fridge. Well, this is going to be fun because it'll be fun to try this next to something.
Yeah, I think it might be a mistake not to, right?
Yeah, we got to take this opportunity. All right, so unplanned second beer tasting here.
2022 Parabola.
Well, it poured exactly how this other one did.
Which is not a lot of... Right, no adjuncts that they mention, right? It's just a barrel-aged stout.
Yeah, right? I don't think
they adjunct this.
So it's described as a Russian imperial stout, and they do age it in bourbon barrels. It is 14.1%, so very close. I don't think there's any adjuncts.
Okay.
It just says it's a beast of a beer with intense flavors of black cherry, dark chocolate, vanilla, and coffee roast. Each annual release bears its own subtle imprint. So I think they do it sounds like they slightly alter the recipe every year.
Okay.
Nose notes on this one. It's a lot of bourbon. The assembled armor cell is so much sweeter.
Sweeter.
Yeah.
Definitely more raisin and chocolate. Off the Parabola, I'm getting more cherry.
Yeah. Bourbon, cherry, that dark roast. It's also got baker's chocolate.
Yeah, you're right. A little bit more, like a hint of coffee coming off.
Yes, coffee. I feel like coffee is not present in the assembled armor. It smells a lot drier too, and there's not really any booze. I feel like this is smells so sweet.
It's the barley wine in this that's really
probably
giving you more of the raisiny and the syrup, of course, the maple syrup in this.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, let's try Parabola.
Cheers.
Cheers. It's so much different.
Well, I was wrong. Much more chocolate.
There's definitely similarities.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Chocolate for sure is the big standout.
Yep. More chocolate. Bitter chocolate. Not as not sweet.
And then coffee. There's definitely a pretty big coffee note right after the chocolate kind of fades.
Yep.
I catch the bourbon more towards the end. It's still a little sweet on the entrance. And then the finish, there's I'm getting a little bit of black licorice almost in the finish. It's drier.
They're so different.
They're so different. You're totally right though. It's the barley wine that gives this assembled armor so much character.
Yep, it's a little thinner.
Because this is really making it evident, like, the influence of the barley wine is having. You're right, it's giving it that syrup, the raisin, that sweetness, that, like, super malt you get from, like, a barley wine. Yeah.
And even, like, more hops, too, than the stout.
This is a good idea. I'm glad I had a Parabola. There's definitely cherry in the Parabola, too.
Yep. Yeah, cherry cordial.
Mm-hmm.
So much chocolate comes off that. Like, deep, dark chocolate fudge coming off of there.
It does say, like, fudge or, like, cake batter.
No,
it's, like, less sweet than cake batter. Yeah, fudge. It tastes like, it's like brownie mix, but less sweet.
Yeah.
But so chocolatey.
Yeah. Very dark chocolate. Very fancy chocolate.
All right, cool. Well, which one do you like better?
Assembled Armor.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. It's really
Isn't
good.
it so fun? All right, cool. I feel super vindicated now. Super validated.
Yeah.
By my
Parabola is fantastic.
Yeah, obviously. But it's just, there's something pretty cool and unique about that Assembled Armor. So, all right, cool. Well, we'll be enjoying these two beers throughout the episode. This will probably be a fun one. Probably be pretty tipsy.
I know, I'm already like, ooh. Okay. Is it hot in here?
I know, right? I could turn the fan on. So that was our drinking beer segment. A little bit of an extra there.
Well, we needed to have two beers, right?
Yeah, right. You gotta try things
We always
side by side. Well, yeah, we usually...
Right? We usually have two beers.
Yeah,
anyway,
we always have two beers, but we're not in the same room. So. All right, so next we have postscripts, where we fix things in previous episodes. We have beer news, and we have story time with Steve. We have news, and then we have story time with Steve and Jason, because we hung out together. So as far as news, do you want to cover this one, Steven? You actually told me about this.
Yeah, so we talked, I think we mentioned on a past episode about Funky Buddha Brewing, who had been bought by Constellation at one point. The original owners bought it back from Constellation.
Epic.
Yeah, it's really cool. But there was this trend all of a sudden of like these big beverage conglomerates starting to dump craft beer. And we saw it. Constellation had done it already with Ballast Point, where they sold it off to Kings and Convicts. So Constellation sort of started the trend, and then what we're seeing now is Anheuser-Busch doing the same thing, dumping craft beer. They have multiple brands. I think in this list that they just dumped were 8.
Yeah, and some pretty big names. Like, for one, Shock Top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I guess doesn't really strike me as ever being a true craft beer brand, because I thought I guess maybe they were their own thing for a while.
I actually don't know the history. The only reason I kind of mentioned it is because, like, that's, to me, like, a real gateway beer.
Oh, yeah. Blue Moon and Shock Top were.
Yeah, I had a big Shock Top Blue Moon phase, like, before I got into true, quote, it sounds gatekeepy, but quote-unquote craft beer.
Yeah.
But it's, it's something different. It's exciting, and I love that stuff.
Yeah, I remember thinking I was so cool.
Yes.
For liking
Shot Top,
Blue Moon or Shock. Like, oh, yeah. It has orange in it.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That's
and then
great.
the other one on this list is 10 Barrel Brewing. I'm familiar with them because they make some really fun sours.
Mm-hmm. They have a cucumber sour that's...
Cucumber sour. And they have a couple other ones, but that cucumber one's good.
Yeah. They're in Bend, Oregon, I believe.
Okay.
Breckenridge is in Colorado, of course. I'm not too familiar with the other ones, Red Hook and Blue Point.
Mm-mm.
The other ones are, I think, 2 cider. Widmer and Square Mile are cider companies. And then Highball Energy, I don't even know why that's in the list.
It's not a beer.
Yeah, I don't know. It's funky. But anyway, they're just dumping a lot of their like accessory brands, including craft beer. So no, it's just a really interesting trend. We're seeing it now. Craft beer is we're not in the boom anymore.
No,
not even close. We're definitely on the other side of that. Probably, I mean, there was a time when there were like hundreds of breweries opening every year. Mm-hmm. I would think that probably more are closing than are opening.
Yeah, I'm waiting for like this data to come out, but because the number of new breweries was like skyrocketing, and then the slope of the line, was still going up, but not at such a steep angle. Yeah. And we're eventually going to hit like the crossover point.
It starts going down. I mean, obviously right now, like you said, pending the data, it's just kind of the eye test, but certainly hear about more breweries closing. Yeah,
I feel like our beer news has been about breweries closing, and then just seeing big brands like this divesting themselves of these brands is kind of a signal of like Well, it's kind of funny because I think we've talked about this before on the podcast, actually, but like at one point, McDonald's bought a bunch of Chipotle stock. Mm-hmm. They had like not a controlling interest, I think, but like a pretty huge, like a 30 or 40% interest in Chipotle. Because I think there was that time when like quick casual was kind of like threatening fast food.
Yeah.
And then McDonald's is doing better than ever. And they did eventually just sell it off. I think it was a little bit of like, they were worried that the tide was shifting.
Yeah.
And I think maybe the same thing has kind of happened with, it's the same reason like Constellation and Anheuser-Busch are buying some of these craft beers, because they were worried like, are we going to lose a huge chunk of our market share to them? And I think, up to this point in time, the answer has been no. Like, yeah, they're going to be fine. There's still plenty of people that want to drink.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Bud has their own kind of problems right now, but with some of their brands. But, there's still people that want to drink just like, regular domestic American beers. And I don't think that's going anywhere.
It's not going away.
That market's going to be good, strong forever. And this is kind of them signaling like, oh yeah, we're fine. Craft brew is a thing, but it's never going to challenge. It's always going to be, we'll postscript this, but I know we've talked about it before, but like what percentage of craft beer, percentage does craft beer make of like total beers? Yeah, it's 12. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, if even that.
Yeah, it's not a market.
Like at its best, I think, maybe.
It's not like threatening the market.
Well, and then you had like hard seltzers and that kind of stuff coming in and also taking some of that share. And a lot of those were developed and released by some of these big beverage conglomerates already. So, yeah, I mean, I just think they were diversifying at first. Yeah. Because they didn't know.
Or they just thought they could make money.
Yeah, they just thought they would make money there in that world. And then, I think they've gotten to the point where they're on the other side of it thinking maybe this isn't the greatest. I don't know. I think maybe they just don't want to own craft beer anymore.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's also another kind of sign that, like, it is difficult in the craft beer world right now. Mm-hmm. Like, there's not...
It's not the good investment. It's
like,
not the good...
we talked about, like, Lagunitas getting bought for, like... Didn't they get bought for, like, $4 billion or something like that? Like,
yeah, something...
I just don't think you're going to see that again.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No.
But there's...
Which, to be honest, I kind of don't mind. And I think I don't know if we talked about this on the podcast. Maybe we did last week. And this episode's not out yet. But just how, like, for me, the experience now is I want to go to a brewery, a local brewery, and just drink beers on tap and hang out. And then that's my main beer drinking experience. Like, buying beer at the grocery store is just, I don't know. Like, I just don't want to.
It's actually really funny that you said that. I'm in just a chat group online, and there's some, it's for a different interest, but there's like a subset of people that are into craft beer. Mm-hmm. And someone said something the other day that totally reminded me of you, of like, they feel like the craft beer thing has gone like almost too far, like where we have all these like limited releases that happen once a year, and like they sell out instantly, and like he's like, I just don't want to deal with it anymore. I just want to like go to my good local brew house and sit there and drink their beer. And I don't want to mess around with any of this other stuff anymore. Because, like, and that kind of makes sense. This is like, it's kind of just a return to the experience. And it's kind of like when we went to, and we're going to get into the topic, but we went to the new Moonraker facility in Cameron Park, their mill house. Yeah. And it is, like, it's just such a nice experience. It's kind of the whole package. It's a nice location. You get to drink the beer fresh, on tap. Obviously, they make amazing beers there.
Which is like the best way to drink IPAs, especially hazy IPAs. Yeah.
You want to drink them as fresh as possible.
Yeah. Even well, we can go into it. Well, so I'll do one more thought on the Anheuser-Busch thing. Yeah. Sort of what we're talking about too. It's actually funny because I was reading another article about how draft beer sales are down.
Oh, interesting.
And that may be more pandemic related. Still, like, people not quite getting out in full numbers back to breweries, but that, like, packaged beer was like a little bit more popular, which is like totally opposite of what, like, how I'm feeling nowadays.
Yeah, you're like, I want to
go to the brewery and I just want to drink. I mean, even just like I went when I first got here. I got here a few days ago. My first night, I met some friends in downtown Davis, where I grew up, and they have a couple breweries down there. And even just going in there, talking to the bar staff, saying like, hey, what's your flagship? What's popular? Kind of tell me about some of the beers. okay, that IPA sounds really cool. I'll drink that. Or that's the most popular IPA. Pour me that. I like that experience of going up to the thing, look at tap list, talking to them about the beers. What do they like? And trying stuff.
Yeah.
In fact, yesterday I stopped at the grocery store to kind of check out the one locally that has the best beer selection and checked it out. And sure enough, they had beer from Dunlow Brewing.
Oh, cool.
Davis. I would never buy it.
Yeah, you want to drink it there. Yeah.
Like, I never would buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in a 4-pack. I mean, maybe I would, but...
But you know what's so funny? I'm gonna step on our next story a little bit, but we'll cover it more. We'll talk about the Moonraker facility, but Outrigger, they had ran out of it on tap, and
this is like their gold-winning West Coast IPA.
West Coast IPA.
Yeah.
And the waitress was so funny. She was like, "Well, I can give it to you, but it's gonna come out of a can," and then she added, which is a big deal to some people.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And it's she mentioned too, it's the same like brew date.
She said same production date.
Yeah.
It just went into a can instead of the keg.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
But some people are like, no, I'm not drinking your beer at your brewery out of a can. Like, yeah.
Yeah, that I was okay with.
That was funny. And we had it and it was delicious.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. If she hadn't even said anything, I wouldn't have probably even known. Can't imagine anybody would have known, but...
Yeah, we were like, could you imagine trying... There's no way you could
you imagine
parse
somebody
the
drinking and
difference.
being like, I don't think this came off a draft.
Dude, this came out of a can.
I'm gonna ask.
Did this come out of a can? Yeah. That's funny. So yeah, we had to get into it. I was kind of excited because like I'm always like late to the game, but Steven was coming and we were going to try to go to the Bay Area because we wanted to... Well, we really wanted to go to Rare Barrel. But then we found out that Rare Barrel is kind of
closed, yeah.
They're still brewing their beer and serving it like at another place.
Yeah, Cellar Maker. We could have gone to Cellar Maker, I guess. But...
that kind of killed it for me because I'm like, I don't know. So anyways, Moonraker, which I think it was fitting we went to Moonraker because Moonraker was like played a big role in your craft beer journey.
Yeah. Well, and even you were like...
Yes, and mine too, actually.
Right? Like some of the first...
Yes, it was the first time I ever had like a hazy IPA, like a good one. Because I remember we were having the same experience of like, what is this? Yeah. And why is this so fantastic?
I mean, for me, like, you had a appreciation for hops already. Yeah. And for me, it was like, that was what unlocked hops for me because I couldn't do the bitter West Coast style. Right. Just like, I wasn't able to appreciate it. Mm-hmm. Whereas in the hazy, it was like, oh, okay, I understand now. When they say it has like tropical flavors, like I get that. It's just nice to do it in a setting where it's not so bitter. You don't get the super bitter and super malt. Yeah. So it was more these isolated hop flavors without the bitterness, and it was like, oh, okay. And then of course now I probably almost prefer I think West you Coast like the West style. Coast, yeah, which is funny. Yeah, Steven, you come to the dark side. You like, because now you like barrel-aged stout, and now you like West Coast IPA, the two highest forms of craft beer. I'm just kidding. Apparently, I like stout Barleywine hybrids. This is really good. So, it was kind of cool. Moonraker opened a new facility this year. So it's cool to get there when it's like brand new. I think it was a little bit delayed because I'd been here. I heard about it initially when they were going to like open, and I think... there was some delays in the opening, maybe pandemic related or something. But I saw that it was finally opened, and it's a nice place. I was so sad because they have a lot of outdoor seating, there's a lot of indoor seating, the facility's beautiful, and most importantly, the original Moonraker doesn't have a kitchen. Yeah. And this place does. And that we've talked about this before on the podcast, like a brew house with food is so much better. Gotta have food. It's so much better. Yeah. It's fine if they have like food trucks. Like, I have nothing against food trucks, but like it's kind of like the variability of like, well, what food truck is here today? Yeah, it could be some really random thing. It could be some random thing you don't want to eat. Yeah. And they had a simple menu. It was just burgers. It was basically like sandwiches and pizza, which is smart. Like, keep it super simple, keep costs low. Yep. But the food was good. Yeah. I mean, it's like elevated, like it's a burger, but it's like it's very good burger. Yeah, it's like fancy. Yeah, they got good bacon on there or whatever. Yeah. But it was cool. We had a great experience, and but I was a little bit sad that it's like, so there's two Moonrakers
where I live, and they're both like an hour away.
Yeah.
So
It didn't get closer.
Yeah, so somehow it didn't get closer because one's up one freeway and one's up another, and they're both
about the same distance.
They're equidistant from my house. So it was a bummer just because we saw like there were so many people there and families there, and it was a massive place. Like they could really have like a lot of high capacity. So and they could handle the big crowd. Yeah. But it's just like it's like the edge of like what's convenient for me because like it's a 2-hour round trip, right? So,
yeah. Like it's an outing.
Exactly. Like man, if that place was 15 minutes from my house, like we'd go.
Hang out there.
Me and my wife would just go
weekend,
every weekend. Yeah. But it's a little far. Yeah. But it was cool. It was fun that we got to go out there.
It's like it's similar Chester King.
Yeah, it's like an hour from you.
It's about 45 minutes to an hour, and it's too far. It's too far unless you like really plan to do it. Like it's just it's an outing.
Yeah, it's like a day trip.
Yeah, and if it's really hot, then forget about it. So. Yeah.
But that was cool. It was fun to go there, and they're still making their beers, and it's been cool to see them kind of be so successful.
Yeah.
I know when they first opened, like there was a lot of people wanted them to can beer, but they were selling out of everything.
Yeah.
I think the first time we went, some of their stuff was like cached. And now their production has caught up. They're canning
and I think too, at the time nobody was canning hazy IPAs.
True.
It was almost like you couldn't.
There was like this short life.
There was like this feeling like it wasn't possible to can these beers and have them like they just weren't shelf stable. And I want to say that changed a little bit with Sierra Nevada coming out with a hazy little thing. That was like one of the first sort of mass-produced canned. Hazies, and maybe they set a precedent where like, okay, maybe you can do this, or if you brew it in a certain way and can it in a certain way, you can do it. But I still, again, I'll see hazy IPAs at the store, not in the fridge.
I know.
I'm like, I'm not buying that.
There's so much hate for those.
I'm not buying that.
There's so much hate for those on the internet. Like I read the other day, they're like these rotten hazies sitting unrefrigerated on shelves. Yeah.
And then you look at the can, it's like 3 months.
Yeah.
Like this has been 3 months not in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
Not good. I mean, again, hate to be a
I know
beer snob.
You're being such a snob.
But man.
For hazies,
it's just a terrible way to drink the beer. Like it's not good. It's not gonna be good.
No.
It's a terrible representation of the brewery.
You're not experiencing.
Yeah, at all.
Yeah.
It's a terrible product. I can't believe that more breweries aren't like crazy about that. Because even my local grocery store is really, really, for the most part, like has a great beer selection and stuff. None of it is in the fridge.
Yeah.
It blows my mind. Smoothie sours.
That's frustrating.
Smoothie sours not in the fridge. I'm like, how is that even possible? I'm not going to buy that. There's no way. Like, even it may not explode, but there's a really good chance it
We've
could.
seen them explode. Yeah. We've opened ones that have exploded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can ruin your wall, the paint on your wall.
Exactly. Yeah, there's nothing like seeing a can on a shelf where they print right on the can, like, keep refrigerated. And you're like, this is not refrigerated. Yeah. So.
Total Wine is...
they're really bad about it.
None of their stuff is... Very little of their stuff is refrigerated. So that's always there's only certain styles I will buy there.
Right. I mean, you can get away with a lot. Like, that's... Like barrel stouts, you can usually get away with not having them.
And some sours, too.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, yeah, so I guess we kind of covered it. That was the Moonraker trip. Yeah. That was fun.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to mention. I mean, I had Electric Lettuce.
Oh, yeah.
Such a good beer. I remember, I think I drank that on the podcast because I got it off Tab War.
Yeah.
And I remember I drank it on the podcast and thought, oh, yeah. Yeah, it was like a huge, like memory...
Of being at Moonraker.
Yeah, oh, yes, these beers are amazing. Like, I kind of forgot what, like, a really, really good hazy IPA tastes like, and that's it. So if you're in this area and you like hazy IPAs and you haven't had Moonraker...
Oh, yeah.
Like,
it's the place to go.
Yeah, you should go, because you'll actually get really, really good hazy IPAs.
Well, it's funny because...
Like, the best, I think, in...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know there's been some, like, newer breweries. I think Moxa Brewing in... Rockland.
Okay.
apparently they make some really, really good beers, including some really good hazy IPAs. So there's some like newer breweries that have opened that I've never tried, but as far as I know, like Moonraker is winning that game here locally.
Yeah,
I think.
and they're good.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool to have them in Russian River, because Russian River is not really in the hazy game.
No.
But the two of them together are like really cool. Like you have the whole range.
Yeah, like having
covered.
those two close is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
What did you drink other than? Is there something else?
So I was really excited to try, because I'm a little bit spoiled, because I can get all the Moonraker beer in cans. And you gotta check the date and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, when it's
like Nugget is good at refrigerating stuff.
Nugget keeps them in the refrigerator, and you would assume obviously they got shipped to Nugget, but it's an hour trip. Like it was cold probably. It went from a fridge to a fridge.
Yeah.
So what I was really excited about was they had the fresh hop.
Yes, that's right.
Because that's one of those things you definitely want to drink on tap.
Yeah.
And it's only available for like a super short window.
Yeah.
And that was the first fresh hop beer I ever had like on tap.
I forgot about, we haven't really talked about it, but it's fresh hop season right now.
Yeah, right now.
The Instagram is blowing up with fresh hop beers coming out like right now. So.
And it was good. It was not what I expected and also what I expected at the same time. I was like,
I love fresh hop beers.
Oh. It's oily?
It's like the ultimate expression of... I don't think it's the ultimate expression of hops, because... so many of these like hop concentrates and hop products and stuff, I think probably do it better.
They're pulling every possible flavor out.
But it's like it's like
clean,
the purest
pure
version of putting hops in beer, and like it's like so vegetal.
Yeah, vegetal and oily.
Yeah. It's not like super tropical, but man, like I love them. I've loved every single one I've ever had.
It was good, and I think that's a fun thing to drink like at the brewery, because that's. You really need to... They're not... Technically, the Holiday... I forgot which beer is from Sierra Nevada. Is fresh hopped. And they can it.
Celebration Ale.
Celebration Ale.
Yeah,
I don't know why I said Holiday. Celebration Ale.
Yeah, that's close.
And I've had that, but it didn't have that same...
No.
It didn't have that same, like, on-tap, fresh... A fresh hop beer on tap.
Because again, you're going to have some degradation.
It was wild.
Yeah.
It was weird. But it was good. But it was different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things we probably should have done is... It looked like they had... It was a fresh hop version of a beer. They had a non-fresh hop version of the same.
They had two. It was...
they had like a fresh hop and a non-fresh hop.
Yeah, it was no something, no problems. No
worries. No plan, no
problem.
problem.
No plan, no problems. Yeah. And they had a fresh hop version and a non-fresh hop version. Yeah. We should have tried this side by side.
Yeah, that would have been interesting.
Because that would have really highlighted like what the fresh hops do.
Mm.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was... I forgot that we did that. Yeah, that's good. I had a couple sours too. I kind of regret that now.
They were okay.
Yeah. It was like a peach pie sour and a key lime pie sour.
Yeah.
And it's so funny how, like, I think probably for, like, a decent period of time of my, like, me enjoying craft beer, I always think, like, oh, I want to try the sour. But, like, I'm starting to learn that I don't really need to try the sour. Like, it's probably not going to be that good.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, yeah, if I'm at Jester King, I'm drinking the sours. If I'm at...
Well, that's the thing, is like Moonraker is a hazy IPA place.
Yeah.
Like, drink the hazy IPAs. It's like when you go to if you go to steakhouse, don't order the chicken.
Yeah, get the pork chop.
Don't order anything but steak. It's like, don't...
Actually, we have this steakhouse in Austin called Perry's. It's very, very popular and fancy.
Yeah.
And, like, their pork chop is, like, famous.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, I can't go to the freaking steakhouse and get the pork chop.
Yeah. But yeah, when you go to Moonraker, don't get the sour. Just drink their hazy.
Yeah.
But there is that temptation of like,
Yeah.
I want to try the sour.
Because I don't know if they had a stout on tap.
They did not, I don't think. They had... I don't know if they do stouts, to be honest.
They do, I think.
Sorry.
No, they do.
They definitely do stouts.
Yeah.
I don't know if they do barrel-aged stouts.
Yeah, you're right.
They did have seltzers on tap, which offended me.
Deeply.
I don't know. It's fine.
You know what's funny is that when I was at Dunlow on Thursday night, one of my friends that was there, he doesn't drink beer. Mm-hmm. And he was like kind of looking at the menu and like, hey, do they have anything that's not beer?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, they do have some seltzers, some hard seltzers. He's like, oh, yeah, try that. So he had a hard raspberry seltzer. And we teased him all night for it.
Nice. Good. Good.
I always, me, like, I'm always like, there is a beer you will like, I promise.
Yeah.
I bet he'd like Briny Melon.
You gotta find him the right gateway.
I feel like anybody who thinks they don't like beer would like Briny Melon.
They just haven't tried the right beer yet. Yeah.
Well, they haven't tried Briny Melon Goza.
Yeah. Which is one of the best beers of all time.
Although my wife doesn't like it.
Really?
She doesn't like sours.
That's right.
In
she
general.
likes IPAs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's we're the ones that we order, and they bring the food, or they bring the drinks, and they hand her the sour, you know, and me the IPA, and then we're like, no, it's the other way around.
Oh,
you know
okay.
what I mean?
They make that assumption.
Yeah, they assume that she's the one that ordered the sour. Actually, it's a similar story. We just went out to eat before I came, and it was like a brunch. And she got this salmon version of Egg Benedict. Okay. And I got this lemon blueberry French toast with whipped cream and white chocolate chips on it. Yeah. And it was the same thing where they brought them out when they were they weren't, yeah. And then and it was really funny too because when she put them down, she was like, really got yin and yang going on here. Uh-huh.
That's actually I love that you guys are total opposites and it's not what they would expect.
Yeah. So
that's fun. Yeah, but I think that was the last thing I want to mention was the seltzers. It was I mean, I know it's part of the scene now, but it was crazy to see they had 4 or 5 on tap, on the whiteboard. Yeah. Although, you know what I liked? They didn't have a chalkboard. Yeah. The chalkboards need to die.
I can't imagine filling that thing out. I mean, some of them are elaborate.
I know.
They're artistic.
They just had a digital screen. It's that's fine. And then you can update it when stuff runs out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I would think that's so much easier. Even when we were at Russian River. Yeah. We saw the person up there
they're erasing the something. Chalkboard, yeah. Chalkboards are so 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot. It's they're so 2000.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
2000 and late.
All right, so yeah, should we get to the main topic? So I told Steven we should look at our list because this is our 100th episode. Yeah. And we could just kind of highlight our favorite episodes.
And then when you look back, you're like, dang, 100 is a lot of episodes.
Yeah, we did a lot of episodes. It's 100 hours.
Jason thought we would have long run out of stuff to talk about.
No. No, I did actually.
Even people that I talk about people that I talk to when I say that we have 100 episodes, they're like,
how?
Really?
Yeah.
I was like, well, yeah, I mean, there's always new things to talk about.
We have a lot of deep dive stuff to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's almost a bottomless pit.
Yeah. I don't know about, for sure breweries. I think, I will say, we do need to do New Albion, for sure.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
It's the OG. Mm-hmm. It's the true OG of
and we
California.
Haven't covered them. All right, we're doing that.
We barely have ever talked about them, yeah. So.
Okay, good. Now we got 101 is planned.
Yeah. But speaking of deep dives, one of my all-time favorite episodes was episode 58, the deep dive we did into Schlitz beer. And that was one of those things where I just happened to come across it. I can't even remember how. And I'm just started to read it, the Wikipedia entry. And I was like, oh my gosh, this will be an amazing episode. Yeah. The history is so crazy. And then I went down the YouTube rabbit hole of their weird ads.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about the ads.
Yeah, the weird boxer dude with the he's gonna knock you out if you
take his Schlitz beer. Yeah.
And then the crazy history of them changing their brew style to try and make turn the beer over faster.
They cut every corner.
Just destroying the quality of the beer, being like, we're gonna make a lager, but like we're not gonna lager it.
Yeah. And then like they would hit a problem that you would think like would make any rational person be like, oh, we shouldn't be doing this anymore, and they'd be like, well, we can fix that.
Yeah, we can put like a additive in
they had to
beer.
do like an anti-foaming agent or whatever, because like it was
It had all this like haze in the beer that hadn't dropped out, so they had to like add something that would like clear it. Yeah. Oh my goodness, just do it right. And like, I mean, I think lager, like an American lager turnover is like 3-month brewing process or something, 3 or 4. And it's like, are you like really? If you cut that in half, like, are you really changing? Like, it's insane. So yeah, crazy stories from Schlitz beer.
So that was episode 58.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was one of my favorites.
Yeah. So definitely listen. Yeah, listen to our favorites. Like, if you're new to the podcast, this is the first time you tuned in. These are the ones to listen to.
Yeah, and I put in some like really funny clips from the ads in there, and like the little jingle and stuff. So it's just a great episode.
Yeah, that's a fun one. Okay, I'll do one of my favorites. Early on, well, shout out to every deep dive. I love deep dives because we always learn cool stuff.
Yeah.
Deep dive didn't make my list just because I love all of them. But one of my favorite episodes is episode 3. And unfortunately, I should have listened to it, but it's the concept of the white whale. So it's like a beer you really want to try that's difficult to get. And I feel like probably Hetty Topper was on there, so it's cool that we've had that one. And I just feel like since we've started doing the podcast, we've definitely knocked off a lot of white whales.
It would be interesting to go back and listen to it.
I'll have to go back and we'll do an update. Maybe we'll postscript that of like what the white whales were in episode 3. But I just love that concept. It's kind of what's, opposite to kind of where you are in your journey a little bit. Like you're like, I just want to go to the local brewery and talk to people and enjoy it. I still, I have my list I'm hunting.
Yeah, like beers you're chasing.
Like, I really want to try it. So like I just was able to cross off Trillium because I got to drink a couple beers from Trillium. And now like my not final white whale, but like one of the white whales that's definitely remaining is I just want something from Treehouse. But I don't know, it's probably what makes the hobby fun. It's just like wanting something for a long time. Yeah. And then you finally get like the opportunity, like a friend goes, or my random Pacific Market like convenience store somehow gets Treehouse. Yeah. And I'll forget it that way, but it's fun. It's kind of one of the things that's fun about the hobby is just having these like quasi unattainable beers and then finally getting your hands on them. It's really exciting. And sometimes it's really disappointing. Like some things are definitely overrated, but it's still fun to at least try them. Yeah,
it's actually funny now, like in my head I'm like running through what would be my white whales.
Yeah, now.
Yeah, and it's funny because Hetty Topper was probably one of the few I still had left to like, I really need to drink that beer.
And we got to knock that out.
Yeah, we knocked that out. I don't know.
And you've already had Treehouse, so.
Yeah, I've had Julius from Treehouse. I think going there again,
would be amazing.
I want to just go there and get a flight of like 8 hazy IPAs from Treehouse and drink them side by side and realize that they're all the same.
Totally.
They might not do flights there just because of that reason.
They're like, we don't want people to know.
To realize they're all the same. No. Yeah, no, I think going there, that's probably what's going to end up being my white whale list, is a list of breweries that I would like to go.
Yeah, that makes sense in person.
I want to go to Toppling Goliath.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Unfortunately, all the breweries you want to go to are in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Like, they're not close. It's all like a flight and then a 3-hour
renting a car and driving for 3 hours. We'll do it though. If there's anyone that will do it with you, I will. But it's not going to be fun.
Yeah. And we kind of did that with what we'll talk about in Seattle, but when we went to the Bale Breaker.
Yeah, that was like a 2-hour drive.
Yeah. It was a pretty
into the middle
drive.
of nowhere. Yeah.
Cool. So White Whales, that's a fun episode. It's one of our most popular episodes.
Oh, really?
I was looking that up.
Episode 3.
Yeah.
All right, what's your second favorite?
So my second is Crazy Lawsuits episode, and I put this on there because I just remember like planning for this episode and reading about I had like come across multiple different lawsuits, and they just like kind of got crazier and crazier the more I read about them, and it was just one of those like fun episodes. We always talk about like we do a deep dive episode and then we do a fun episode after that where we like don't have to think as much or research as much.
The deep dives require a lot of research.
Yeah. So it's just one of those, like, a fun episode where you just got to talk about some of these crazy stories. One of my favorite, though, is the Stone Brewing, because Keystone basically made this can where it just, like, the key was really small.
And the Stone was really
Stone
big.
was huge. And it was like, what are you thinking? And Stone Brewing was like, oh, hell no.
And they won that lawsuit, right?
Yeah, they won. So, and then of course, like, Keystone's like, oh yeah, they're just out to get money and stuff. Like, you knew exactly what you were doing. It was great.
There's no reason. Yeah. It was so blatant.
Yeah. So that was like, I was looking over some of the fun episodes. The other, I will honorable mention the Google autofill.
That was fun. Yeah.
There's a lot of laughing on that one.
That one and the remember when we did all the surveys on
oh yeah, like personality surveys, like what craft beer are you?
Yeah. That was a fun episode.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So Crazy Lawsuits, that was episode 47. I think my second favorite, I didn't really do them in order, but one of my three favorites, I really liked when we did episode 28 is best beers in each state. Like, I had always known this, but there's good craft beer like everywhere, which is so cool.
Yeah.
And some of the beers like you hear about, and now I won't remember because I'll have to re-listen to the episode. But it's like, oh, this super famous beer that you hear mentioned is like from like Montana, or like, you know, it's like some random state where you wouldn't think. Because I just think of like East Coast and West Coast have like a high concentration of craft beers, but there's good craft breweries like in all 50 states basically, which was cool.
Yeah, it's like California, Texas, like some of the bigger states, and they kind of dominate, and then you sort of forget that there's craft beer in Alabama. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, not as much, but there's good beers coming out of those states too.
So that was fun. So we kind of covered just the top beer. It was like an article or whatever where it was like the number one rated and number one selling beer in like each state. So that was fun. That was fun to do. Well, even like Alaska has
the Alaska beer scene is legit.
It's insane.
Yeah. Well, Anchorage itself is
right.
Anchorage Brewing and Alaskan Brewing.
Yeah,
and
it's just like you wouldn't think of like, oh, Alaska has an amazing craft beer scene. But,
yeah. What was their number one? Was it from Anchorage?
I feel like it had to be
Blessed or something.
Blessed or something like that. Which, speaking of white whales, is still on my white whale list.
Speaking
I just
of,
refuse to pay $100 for it.
Speaking of Stout Barleywine. Oh, no, Deal with the Devil from
that's
them. It's the Barleywine Stout
blend.
All
right, that's my next. I gotta go for that. Because if it's anything like Assembled Armor, this is like my new favorite thing is like the
Barleywine Stout blend.
Blend.
It's like the next level.
I'm like, I'm gonna get even.
There's gotta be a next level.
Yeah, I'm even snobbier. Yeah.
Like, wow. It's like, how many of those do you even like come across in a year?
There's probably like 5 that are made. Yeah. So
that's great.
Yeah, so that was fun. It was kind of cool. And then if you're like whatever state you live in, there's a pretty dang good craft beer you can get access to. So what was your third favorite?
So my third favorite was Selling Out, and this is probably because it's like one of my favorite topics to talk about. I feel like it comes up like every episode.
Yeah, we talk about it.
And I have like, I mean, maybe I'm not like as passionate about talking about it now, since the landscape of craft beer has just changed so much in general. Mm-hmm. I don't know, my feelings about breweries selling out were always sort of like mixed and kind of nuanced and sort of changed over time, because sometimes I get annoyed by like the gatekeeping in the craft beer world. Totally. and the like judging like what you like and what you don't like, and so it's like, look, if I had a brewery and you know I'm Ballast Point owners and Constellation comes in and wants to give me $1 billion for my brewery, like I probably would say yes. Like, I don't know how, like, you don't even know, maybe they hadn't even formed any ideals on what craft beer means or what it should be or what craft beer independence meant at the time. Like, it's like didn't even seem ethically wrong or wrong on any level or like they were betraying craft beer in any way. I don't know. Maybe they had thoughts about that, but maybe not. Like they just thought, wow, we could expand. More people get to drink Ballast Point.
Right.
We make a ton of money. Like this is the dream, right? Like you don't start a business like just get by, you know? Like
Right.
I mean, maybe you do, but like,
money.
yeah, I mean, when you start a business and you're making money and somebody wants to pay you a lot of money for the business you've created. So anyway, I just like I love talking about that topic. I love going into the nuance of, I honestly, I'm kind of like this with any like political discussion or any like debate and stuff on any topic. I'm not black and white on anything.
Sure.
Like I am middle because I don't want to hold any stupid
Like extreme
extreme belief, because rarely is that ever like correct or you know, like it's just everything is nuanced. People's feelings are nuanced, people's personalities are nuanced, and priorities, like what is important to them, what's not. So anyway, the whole selling out topic is just one of my favorite things to talk about in craft beer. So
well, and these keyboard warriors have never seen a $1 billion check with their name on it. Like,
true.
How do you say no to that?
Yeah. Well, and again, it's like you can't always foresee that people are going to get mad at you for doing it.
Right.
You can't always foresee that like the product's going to deteriorate.
That's sad. If the product gets worse, that's sad.
You don't necessarily even know like what the human consequences are going to be of like people getting laid off or benefits being cut or something. Like maybe you just don't know that, or you don't think that they're going to do that, or maybe they said that they wouldn't do that and they did.
And
like,
they do.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's really hard.
Very cool. Episode 36.
Yeah. So Ballast Point, well, I do think their beer got terrible. So
no, it did. Ballast
I don't feel
Point
bad about that.
was a prime example. And they poured out all their
they poured out a lot of beer. Yeah, they stopped.
That was a crime against
Constellation really
beer.
made some mistakes on that.
No, totally.
So past that, like, of course, you know, and sometimes, you know, it's like we were just talking about, we were talking about Barry Bonds yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And how I felt about Barry Bonds. And I probably defend Barry Bonds more because I'm a Giants fan. And I was a huge Barry Bonds fan.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm a huge New Belgium fan.
Right.
I'm a huge Bells fan. So, like, when they sell out, I'm kind of like, it's okay.
Right.
I don't mind.
You give them a little bit benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got some good insight when we toured New Belgium into like how good they are to their people and stuff, and so even after the sell. So
that's my favorite.
Yeah. So like, and a lot of the employees got a lot of money from that.
Yes, a lot of the employees did really good because
so.
they had a small share in the company.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the dream, is like, and I think, at least at the time that we toured, this is a long time ago, but Sierra Nevada's like that. I love these breweries where, like, they just take care of their employees. They're going to make so much money, but just make a little less money and really take care of your people.
Yeah. Well, and, you know, it comes back to you, because then you have
because
happy
you
people.
Have very loyal staff.
Low turnover.
Like when we were talking about,
it's impossible to get a job there.
Right. Sierra Nevada, when we were doing there, it's like people work there their whole life.
Yeah.
Because they get paid well, they have benefits, they have retirement. It's like, why would you leave? And then you have, you know, I think you get that. You just get a staff that you're not going to get.
Yeah.
If you don't take care of them.
Yeah.
You're not going to get those people.
Well, you can be, like, so picky about who you hire.
Exactly. And even when we went to New Belgium, like, they said they had a staff doctor. Sick. They have a private doctor.
Yeah.
Like, that just attends to their,
we'll see
like,
whatever
staff.
you need, yeah.
That's pretty cool. It's like better than the regular benefits.
Right, exactly.
I know. I think me and Steven were. It's so funny when we went on the New Belgium tour. We're like, dang, we want to work here.
Yeah, we're like, we're moving. What job openings do you have? We're like, none.
Yeah.
Duh.
No one leaves. Yeah. So.
Someone has to die or something.
Right. Yeah, the staff doctor has to mess up. So okay, so I guess I'll do my last one. Is episode 10. Seattle Bro Venture.
I can't believe there's only 10.
I know. We did it like right at the beginning.
Yeah, we did like
a
really early.
But that trip was so fun. So sometimes
good.
I listened to the episode and just relive our trip to Seattle because that was such a good trip.
That was good. Yeah.
Because we got to go to Fremont Brewing.
Rubens.
We got to go to Reuben.
Great Notion.
It was fun because I love Fremont because they make Rusty Nail and the First Nail and all that stuff. And you one of your favorite beers is the Rubens. Goza. So we got to check out some of like our favorite.
I didn't like the plastic cups at Rubens though.
That offended me too.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe they were putting
truly
their beer
upset
in plastic.
by that.
Yeah, that was bad. But
I don't know whether that was just because they had that thing going on where they had like a bunch of different like weird IPAs. Mm-hmm. Remember they had like a cinnamon toast crunch IPA?
They had those cereal ones. They were bad.
Terrible.
Dude. Yeah.
Yeah, Rubens.
Yeah, Rubens was
the lead.
Yeah, Rubens was
a low point.
I'd never meet your
surprisingly low point.
Yeah, it was a never meet your heroes situation. Yeah.
Oh
you
my
had a
gosh.
bad time at Rubens.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too because remember they had like the barrel room.
We had the reservation there.
Yeah.
And and actually, I guess me and Steven are pretty big snobs. Because the barrel room, they didn't actually have taps there. Then. Every single beer that they poured in the barrel room was just out of a can.
Was out of a can.
And we're like,
into a plastic cup.
We did not fly.
Look, if it had been into a glass,
maybe.
It's one thing.
But a plastic cup, it's like insult to injury.
I'm like, what am I at a picnic?
Yeah. We did not fly from California and Texas to drink canned beer out of a plastic cup. Okay.
We're coming up from Moonraker. Well, I don't even know what I was ranting about. Whatever I was ranting about. Jason's like, man, where are these alcohol fueled rants on the podcast?
We need these good rants on the podcast.
Now you're getting it because we're drinking.
Yeah, we're drinking 15%.
I drink more barley wines. Yeah.
We gotta to get the real good rants from Steven, we gotta do like a pre-drink before we start recording. Yeah.
Oh man, the Rubens! You brought up terrible memories now.
I'm so sorry, but
kitty corner from that was Great Notion, which we hadn't planned on.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was a great tap room.
That was great.
They had some decent food and.
We were so excited because we had no idea they had a tap room there, and we both love Great Notion.
Yeah, so and their sours are fun.
That was really fun, and they had good food. Yeah. We ate from their kitchen.
Yeah, but Bale Breaker.
That was the highlight of the trip.
My favorite thing about that was that they were releasing their Mount St. Humulus triple IPA that weekend, and we were like, "This is going to be crazy. It's going to be this like." Is this their Pliny the Younger release essentially? Which it kind of is, but people aren't like coming from all over the world for it, right?
Because we got there right when they opened, and the guy was like, "What the hell are you guys doing?"
Yeah, we were there like an hour before they opened.
And he was like, "We don't open." And we're like, "Aren't you doing your big release today?" He's like, "Yeah, it'll be fine." Like, yeah. I think the location.
Yeah, it's isolating.
It's isolating. Like, yeah. So there was a lot of locals that came. I think they were very busy that day, probably compared to their regular day. But it wasn't like people are. It's not like the Pliny release where people are flying in to go.
No.
Yeah. So, but that was fun.
But
it was
that
a good
beer
beer
was
too. Excellent beer.
Amazing.
Yeah. I bought the shirt.
Sticky.
Yeah.
I remember that was my big description of it.
Sticky.
It was sticky. Yeah. Hoppy and sticky.
Yeah, it was a good beer. I'd like to try that one again if we could get our hands on it. So yeah, that was our 3 top episodes from both of us. So,
but they're all amazing in their own way.
We should listen to all of them.
What's your least favorite episode? Should we do that? Like one to avoid.
Well,
one that people can skip.
Just the first couple, the audio is so terrible. Like our audio still isn't great, but it was really bad.
Pretty bad.
Yeah, audio is really hard. By the way, if you're listening, audio is hard.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Yeah,
it's hard to get levels right. Especially, I mean, maybe it'll be like more consistent because we're on the same microphone this time. Yeah. But it is hard when you are in 2 different places, and sometimes it just picks me up really well, or picks you up really well, and not me.
Yeah.
Or I like look away from my mic or something, and
it drops off.
Yeah. And like, there's only so much I can do in the editing phase to fix it.
Yeah.
There's been a few episodes where I truly had to do some like magic. I had to like run it through like condensers and like and then like bring the volume back up after the condenser, or try to do some like background noise elimination and stuff. And
I'm always
I don't know which ones those are. I didn't keep track. So there's probably one I could tell you to avoid that's like, yeah, the audio is just absolutely terrible on this one. But you could probably skip the BuzzFeed quiz time.
No, that's a good one. That's a fun one.
That one I feel like we're just laughing the whole time.
We didn't know what to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Is there
I was
anything
going to say
else?
the guide to gift giving is fantastic.
Oh, it's a good
Around
one.
Christmas time. Remember the glasses?
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
Good episode.
Beer scented candle. I got that one of those for my birthday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I got an amber ale scented candle.
Is it good?
I haven't burned it yet. It's just sitting on my desk.
Did you sniff it at least?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I'll light it the next episode.
Yeah, burn it for our next episode. You can be a washed in amber ale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll drink a really strong barley wine and
There you go.
pass out to the smell of amber ale.
Well, is there anything else you want to add to episode 100?
Nope.
Didn't think we'd make it this far, huh?
Nope.
Are we going to make it to 200?
Duh.
It's going to be slower now that I have a kid.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like 10 years from now we'll get to episode 2.
We went from recording religiously every week
Yeah, we were like every week.
to like once. Now we're like once a month.
Did we even really miss? Maybe like on some holidays or something.
No, we were rock solid.
Yeah, we're pretty rock solid.
I think we
for a
like
while.
double recorded one week to like make up for a holiday or something.
Yeah,
like
or
that.
like we just released like our Thanksgiving toast or something that
Yeah.
week or something. But yeah. Yeah.
All right, well, I'll try to get more regulars there. My life is chaos.
It's okay. I now have a full like idea of Jason's life.
Yeah, you've been here.
Being here all weekend,
Yeah.
and I realize I forgot. You know, my kids are a little older. Kind of forgot how much energy it takes to have a 6-month-old child.
Yep.
Like it's
She needs
they
constant attention. So it's either me or my wife.
That you cannot
Yeah.
really just ignore them for any significant amount of time. Like there's 5 minutes maybe.
Yes,
but
and then she's gonna get
you're
frustrated.
gonna want something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but we're doing pretty good. We're keeping it alive.
Not that I wasn't understanding before.
No, you've been an angel.
I'm like, okay, I'll stop giving him hell.
Giving me grief. Yeah, everyone forgets.
Yep, you always forget. That's why I have another one, because you're like, oh yeah, it was
It wasn't that
great.
bad.
That was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, not sleeping is great. Sleep. Who needs sleep?
Oof. Yeah. She's actually a pretty good sleeper, so not a lot of complaints there. But all right, well, I guess we can call it an episode. This has been episode 100
Episode 100. Congratulations.
of Attenuation.
Cheers.
And we got to do it in person.
Or clink them again.
That's how you know we're together.
It's good audio. Yeah.
So yeah, this has been episode 100 of Attenuation, a beer podcast. Wow. Drinking the...
Let's learn your words
Yeah.
now.
My name is Jason. I'm joined by my best friend since 8th grade, Steven.
That's me.
And he's right here.
Right here. Same mic.
And we're
We're cuddled around it.
We're leaning in. So yeah, cheers, and we'll see you for episode 101, which will sadly be recorded remotely.
Yeah. Should be a deep dive. Beer 101.
We're doing you already planned it out. It's
Oh, yeah, what did we say? New Albion.
New Albion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look for the New Albion Brewing deep dive.
Deep dive 101.
All right.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Attenuation, a beer podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and follow us on Instagram or Facebook for more fun content. Catch you next week. Cheers!